What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Unscripted Sports Show. I'm your host, MoneyE. I'm with my brother Chris and Cleneth. How are you guys?
I'm
Good.
good.
How are you?
Super Bowl 59 week. Our Eagles are facing the defending champs, the Chiefs. Chiefs are in the Super Bowl for the third straight year. This is the rematch of Super Bowl 57, where the Chiefs beat the Eagles. So the Eagles are looking for payback. We'll briefly talk about the conference championship game since it was over about 2 week and a half ago. So, I'll just get your guys' thoughts on each game, and then we'll get into the Super Bowl. What were you guys' thoughts on the? We'll start with the AFC Championship game, since that was more competitive.
Honestly, I didn't even watch it. I don't even care about the Chiefs right now. Or I guess I do, but they're just so boring. I don't know. Kind of over it.
Yeah. How about you, Cleneth? I know you picked the Chiefs. So.
I picked the Chiefs because why are you going to bet against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? But but the way I look at it is that we all know that it was some shady calls made in that game. It was a back and forth game. You're always going to get a back and forth game between Buffalo and Kansas City. And somehow reason every year Kansas City always finds a way to pull through. So that's why I say put your money on Kansas City to win.
Yep, exactly. My thoughts were there was a couple calls in that game that should have gone Buffalo's way, but especially that catch that wasn't a catch at the end of the first half, and then the fourth down play that was called on turnover that was eventually a turnovers on down. It should have been first down, but at the end of the day, Kansas City won the game, and yeah, I mean, refs were. I would say they were a big factor in the not in the outcome, but they impact the game. So yeah, I feel bad for Bills fans. I wanted the Eagles versus Bills. Um, I wanted to do a Bills versus Eagles stream, but maybe next year. Maybe next year. But yeah. Thoughts on the NFC championship game? It went according to plan. The Eagles dominated 55-23 with a fun game to watch. They could have scored 60 if they wanted to be honest. But there was not enough time. But yeah, it was a fun game. They did what they had to do, and Washington hung on for as long as they could, but they couldn't stop the Eagles. What were your guys' thoughts?
Washington's overrated. I don't know. Eagles dominated. That was the biggest domination by the Eagles all season, and they're arguably the best team in the league, top 2 team in the league. I knew Washington was frauds. So I understand they're not supposed to win, but they got dominated, so they're fraudulent.
Exactly.
Oh man. So I always call Washington fraudulent. That if you look at what, yes, they got by Tampa Bay, and yes, they beat a Lions team who half their team was on IR. So you look at it like that. The Eagles did have to go play. We played Green Bay, a healthy, a Green Bay team, a good Rams team, and this game, the way to look at it is, was supposed to be like the game it should have been in Washington when we lost, when Jalen Hurts got hurt. They had 4 turnovers, and off for 4 turnovers, 28 points. We have it at when they in week 10 or 14 or whatever that week was. They had 5 turnovers and only scored 9 points of that. Big difference.
Exactly. The Eagles played their best game in the NFC Championship game, and they proved why they should go to the Super Bowl. It would have been interesting to see if it was the Lions and Eagles. It sucks that we didn't get that, but it would have been that would have been a probably more competitive game.
I don't think so. I think the Lions would have been worse.
Oh wow. You think the Eagles would have destroyed them even more?
Yes.
They probably would have, just of all the injuries you just said they had, and yeah. Let's get to it. Let's get to the big game Sunday, 6:30 on Fox. Tom Brady's calling his first Super Bowl. Ironically, it's the Eagles. So, um, I'll go around and get your guys' thoughts, and then we'll go and talk about the keys and all that. How about you, Chris?
Yeah. What were you saying? I couldn't hear.
No, I said your first thoughts on the game.
Oh, we're gonna win. I'm more confident than I was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was like, I don't know, this is tough, but I don't know. I don't see how we lose to this team twice. We have a better defensive coordinator now who's locked in. Our defense is way better than it was last time, and our defense was really good last time. Our offense is better. We have a better running game. John Hurts isn't as playing as well as he was 2 years ago, but he doesn't need to. We don't have Jason Kelsey, but Cam Jurgens is still a really good player. Talent across the, I don't if it wasn't for the name Mahomes and Andy Reid, I don't see how the Chiefs win this game. But because you have those X factors, it'll be more competitive. I think obviously Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to do a good job. They're going to do what they do. The X factor would be Spags. Is he going to prove that he's the greatest DC of all time and rise to the occasion, or is he going to put up another dud in the Super Bowl? Even though they won last time, they still let up a lot of points last time. So
yeah, they did.
Man. So that's the interesting facts, but there's one key element you're missing out that our defensive coordinators is 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes. And then he also was on like the consulting team Super Bowl 57, helping planning with Jonathan Gannon against Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl 50.
no, he was actually helping out the offense because he was trying to show the offense what a Spagnuolo scheme would look like. So he wasn't necessarily giving defensive advice; he was actually giving offensive advice. But yeah, he is 0-8 against Mahomes. But yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think we're going to win. I think all three of us think we're going to win, right, Glenn? You have the Eagles winning too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, what else? What are your guys like keys to the game on both sides for the Eagles? We'll start with the Eagles and then the Chiefs.
key to the game for the Eagles, I think one of the biggest ones will be handling the blitz. So Jalen Hurts is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, both eye test and statistically against the blitz. He gets sacked like at a much, much higher rate than anybody else in the league when they're blitzing. It's always been his issue. And you're facing the defensive coordinator who is the best blitzer of all time, right? He has exotic blitzes, he disguises, he blitzes corners all the time. Like, so he's really, really a good blitzer. So it's gonna come down to Jalen Hurts and how he reacts to that. It's gonna come down to the offensive line, how they handle that. And I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, to be quite honest. So
Yeah, I like the under too. What's the key for on the defense side?
honestly, I'm not that worried about, and this is crazy to say, I'm more worried about Spags than I am Patrick Mahomes. I know that's crazy to say, but like with the talent that we have on our defense, like I've strong confidence that they can put together a good game plan.
Yeah.
The Chiefs just don't have the weapons. They have Xavier Worthy, I guess. They have DeAndre Hopkins. They have Travis Kelce, who's old. Like they don't have the firepower that they did even 2 years ago. And then half those games that I feel like Fangio lost against the Chiefs, they had Tyreek Hill, and prime Travis Kelce. And you're not getting that this time around. So
Nope. Yeah, Travis Kelce is a year older. DeAndre is he's up there. What are your keys on offense and defense, Cleneth? And I'll go.
So I look at it offensively. I do agree with your brother. You do have to protect the blitz, but the way you stop the blitz is you run the ball. I think if you get Saquon Barkley going early, and you let them know that you're hurt, let them break off a few big runs. That will slow down Bristol completely.
Yep, exactly.
yeah, you make them pay.
I'm up for defense.
Defensively, I think you have to slow down Patrick Holmes. I mean, I know the Eagles will stop the run. The fact is, it's slowing down the big play and preventing the big plays of Worthy and the wide receivers, Kelsey and all that other stuff. If you could stop the big plays capability, and hold them to field goals, I say the Eagles win this game.
Yep, exactly. My keys for offense is obviously run the ball. Go for fourth down when you need to. Just don't go for it just to go for it. Don't be too. At least I think don't be too aggressive because you don't want to give a short field to Patrick Mahomes and the offense. I know they're not the same offense as 2 years ago, but it's still Patrick Mahomes, and they still have a weapon in Worthy, who I think could be an X factor in this game. And they still have a decent duo running back in Pacheco and what's his name? Shit, I forgot his name now. Another running back. What's his other running back's name? Shoot.
Kareem Hunt.
Huh?
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, thank you.
And protect Isaiah.
Yeah. I mean, they split carries between those two, so nobody's like the main back. So I don't think they're gonna run the ball a lot, but Pachenko is still a pretty good running back when he's healthy. He wasn't healthy all year this year, so and then Kareem Hunt is still pretty decent. As far as the wide receivers go, You have DeAndre Hopkins. He's still decent. And then you got Worthy. You got TK, Travis Kelsey. So, at least I don't think they need to go for it all the time on fourth down. If it's 4th and 5, you punt the ball. Don't give any momentum to Kansas City because they will take it, as we've seen in the past, especially against the Bills and Texans. Any momentum you give them, they will take advantage of it. As much as they've had kind of a down season, even though they went 15 games, 2 in the playoffs. Kind of a down season offensively for them. So, but defense for the Eagles is defense. Let's prevent get some turnovers. Blitz Patrick Mahomes, because when he's under pressure, he can turn the ball over himself. If you can win a turnover battle, I think we're definitely going to win this game. So let's get to the keys for the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start with you, Cleneth.
Kansas City, one thing they can't do is they can't turn the ball over. If you notice in the playoffs, when all Eagles games, the Eagles been forcing the ball over, especially with fumbles. So they gotta hold on to that ball. The Eagles don't pick the ball off, but they'll make someone fumble in a heartbeat. And so key thing for offensively, they no turnovers whatsoever. And I think and plus if you look at last year's Super Bowl, it was that Jalen Hurts fumble was the only fumble, was a key play in that whole game. The game is differently if he never fumbled that ball, and the game get tied up to a 14-all after that. Defensively, I think Kansas City has to rely on the blitz, supply blitz. They have to focus on shutting the run down. But I think that's one thing is if you you can stop Saquon Barkley. You also have to say, okay, you stop Barkley. You're going to have to find a way to stop also Devontae Smith and AJ Brown on the outside, and then Dallas Goedert going down the seam. It's a lot of dangerous weapons, and I don't think Kansas City defensively can match up against all 4 of those guys: Barkley, Brown, Smith, and Goddard.
Yep, I agree with that.
Completely agree. AJ Brown faced L'Jarius Sneed last time, and Sneed gave him some problems, but Sneed's not on this team anymore. The only good corner they have is Trent McDuffie, who is very, very good corner, but he's undersized. He's not a big guy like, say, like a Patrick Surtain or Jalen Ramsey. I think AJ Brown's going to give him fits. If they leave him on an island, it'd be interesting to see what they do. I just don't think I really just don't think the Chiefs have the manpower across the board, both offensive and defensively, to contend. So,
yeah, the key for me. What were your keys? Dudes, were your keys to the game for Kansas City first?
for Kansas City, offensively, they're gonna have to protect the ball. The Eagles do turn the ball, can force turnovers a decent amount. Yeah, so they're gonna have to protect the ball, and probably avoid the sacks. And then defensively, they're gonna have to, like I just said, they're gonna have to contain all of our players. I think getting Saquon Barkley changed the math of the offense versus the defense. When you had Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift, you didn't really have to worry about that home run threat as much, where you always have to worry about that with Saquon Barkley. So it's if you stack the box, yeah, they punish you. One that doesn't work against Saquon Barkley, but say it does work. All right, then you're leaving your men on an island with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. If you play too much zone, you have a light box. We're going to punish you with that. So it's going to be a tough puzzle to solve for Spags, in my opinion. So
Yep. The keys for me is Kansas City's offense. They're gonna have to keep the Eagles' offense off the field because the Eagles are good at running the ball. They're good at time possession, and the more time the Eagles have on the field, I think the more likely we're gonna win, especially with Barkley. And then as I said, they can't turn the ball over because in Super Bowl 57 2 years ago, there was only one turnover, and that was the whole key to the game. Not 2 years ago, the Eagles turnover. That was the only turnover of the game, and that was the key. That was a major factor. So turnovers are going to be key in this game. Whoever wins the turnover battle will probably win this game, more than likely. I mean, we can always lose the turnover battle and win, but more times than not, you win turnover battle, you're probably going to win. And defense, yeah, they have to, as Chris said earlier, they're going to have to pressure Hurts. Hurts is doesn't not good under when he's under pressure with the sack. I mean with the blitz, and because he doesn't release the ball on time, but he takes his time releasing the ball. But hopefully, Chiefs don't blitz a lot, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they manage to keep the ball away from our offense because, as I said, time of possession is going to be key to this game on both sides. Though, let's give an X factor for each team. Who's your X factors for each team, Chris?
all right. So for the Eagles, don't laugh, but bear with me. I'm going to pick someone who you might not think, but could become very important. I'm going to pick Jake Elliott because I think the other players are going to show up. But if it becomes, I was thinking about this earlier. If it came down to the Eagles, well, basically what happened 2 years ago was the Eagles didn't get the chance to get the ball back with enough time to kick a game. I think it was tying field goal for them. Didn't get enough time, so it didn't even matter. But let's say they do get enough time this time around. Let's say it's the same situation, no holding call, and we get enough time back. Do I trust Jake Elliott? Absolutely not. No. So he's my X factor because a lot of these games are decided by field goals. The spread's only 1.5 points.
Yep.
It's going to be a tight game. So it's going to come down to extra points because it can come down to field goals. So Jake Elliott's my X factor because it's not necessarily, if he shows up when his number's called, right, you're not going to expect him to break the game open for you. But if, we need a long field goal and needs to make all of these extra points, then I think we win.
Yep.
Defensively, this is much simpler. You're going to go, the X factor is the best player on the field, probably outside of Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes. It's Jalen Carter. He's easily the best player on defense for the Eagles. Maybe next to Zach Bond, but Jalen Carter, he can wreck the game. He's clutch. He's had a lot of clutch sacks against throughout the year, and especially against Matt Stafford and the Rams. He really closed the game for us there. If he has a big game, that's going to wreck the entire game for Patrick Mahomes. You saw what happened against the Bucks, and I think that's the game we haven't talked about a lot was the Bucks versus the Chiefs. When the Chiefs lost their only Super Bowl, like what Chiefs scored, it was like 31-9 or something like that. It was something crazy.
Yeah,
Like
that was it.
Yeah, go ahead, Cleneth. What are you saying?
That was it. Yeah, I was telling you, he was right. That was it. 31-9.
Yeah, Yeah, and they completely obliterated that O-line, and Patrick Mahomes couldn't do a single thing. So if you get to Patrick Mahomes, no quarterback is immune from pressure. Sooner or later, it catches up to you. I don't care who you are. Sooner or later, it catches up to you. So, yeah, that's why I think Jalen Carter is going to be the X factor for defense. So
That's a good pick. How about you, Cleneth?
All right.
And then we'll go
So
back
my
to
aspect.
Kansas City.
So, like I said, I do. No, I'll tell you the truth. You make a great point. Your brother Chris, you make a great point with Jake Elliott being an X factor for the Eagles because you've been hot and cold all season long. If you watch them in a championship game, missing that one field goal, missing the extra points, the playoff when you just can't do that. And this time around, you have to make these kicks, and he's been hot and cold. Now, what works in his favor is that we're playing inside a dome in Louisiana, so no winds, no weather, nothing to really get in your way with that. So Jake Elliott, yes, it's going to be it's a good X factor. And that's outside of your main star players. Defensively, I do agree with Jalen Carter, but mine is the two rookies, DeGene and Quindron Mitchell. These guys are going to step up. They're going to be locking down Island on these wide receivers. You can lock down Xavier Worthley. Oh, it's going to be a good game for the Eagles defense if you lock that man down.
Good picks. I think my X factor for defense is going to be the return of BG. He's the leader of this defense. He's the heart and soul of the defense. I think he could be an X factor in this game. He's playing. It's going to play on Sunday, so he's coming back. I don't know how much he's going to play, but I could see him being an X factor on Sunday. On offense, I think it's going to be the offensive line, helping keep the pressure off the blitz. The blitz from getting to Jalen Hurts. I think the X factor could be the offensive line and how they can stop the blitz. So those are my two X factors. Even though I just named a whole offensive line, but yeah. But Kansas City, I'll go for Kansas City. I think DeAndre Hopkins could be an X factor. I know he's old, but he still can play. And when you have Patrick Mahomes throwing you the ball, you can still be an X factor in this game. And those kind of receivers kind of get to the Eagles. So I'm gonna say DeAndre Hopkins, and on defense it's probably gonna be Jones on the defensive line. Who wants to go next?
Cleneth, you can go.
Glenn?
Yeah, I'm here. So, wait. We were just talking about the whole key X factors in the game.
For Kansas City now is what we're done.
Kansas City, I will say X factor of the game is going to be Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is going to be one of those is Patrick Mahomes' safety blanket throughout this whole playoff, and especially in playoff time in Super Bowl. That whenever he's open, you hoping Travis Kelce is going to break the game open with a catch and run, big game. That's going to be a defensively. Oh man, it's going to be hard to say for defensively for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think defensively, their top two corners are going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up, put pressure on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and they have to really lock them down.
I like those two. Chris?
For the Chiefs, it's going to be their offensive line. I think that really, if you take a look at their performance against the Bucks, what did they do immediately after the Super Bowl? They shored up the offensive line. They got Joe Tooney, I'm pretty sure, added a couple more pieces, and really beat up that offensive line. The reason they lost was because of the offensive line. I think it might be the same case Sunday. The Eagles are my pick to win, and I think it's going to be because Patrick Mahomes can't do what Patrick Mahomes does because he's not going to have the time. He's not going to have the protection. If you recall what happened 2 years ago, I don't even know if the Eagles got a sack because of how poor the field was. That's not going to happen again, especially with a much better pass rushing unit. I think if you take a look at the names on the offensive line, on the defensive line now versus 2 years ago, yeah, like Hassan Reddick was an all-pro last time. But other than that, I mean, we were playing Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. I know Hargrave was on there. He was playing really, really good. But I don't think the sack numbers, we might have gotten more sacks last time, but I think as a whole, our defensive line just is
Let
better
me check.
this
What that
time.
says.
I think we set some records last time, so it's hard to compare. But I think our ability against the run
Yeah.
and like the way that like Nolan Smith is playing, the way that Jalen Carter's playing, even Jordan Davis got a sack in the NFC Championship game. Like it's going to come down to the offensive line for the Chiefs. Long story short, and then for defense, I think it's going to come down to an X factor will be. It'll be Chris Jones.
Yeah.
The defense goes as he goes, right? They line him up all over the spot. He's in my opinion the best defensive player in the league, even though he doesn't really fill up a stat sheet. He doesn't really get a lot of defensive player of the year accolades, but in the playoffs, he's a closer. Like he's as game as they come.
Yep.
If we can stop Chris Jones, especially when we do have to leave him on an island because they're blitzing, I think we'll be fine. You could also argue that, like, aside from Jake Elliott being my X factor, like Mekhi Becton might be an X factor for the Eagles because you better believe that Chris Jones is going to line up right across from Mekhi Becton because he's the weakest link on that offensive line. So
Yeah.
He's going to have a lot of responsibility for stopping Chris Jones. So.
Exactly. Chris Jones is their heart and soul of that defense. He's their version of BG for us. As far as leadership in that defense and veteran presence. Let's see. Let's get to our best bets. Chris, I mean, your best bet was
Eagles money line. I don't care if I eat my words. I think the Eagles win by double digits. I think they get an early lead, and I don't think they let go. I think the way. I think everybody thinks a three-peat is a foregone conclusion. Everyone's resided to the fact, I'm not even going to watch it. Chiefs are going to three-peat. I think everyone who thinks that is in for a rude awakening because this team is much, much better than it was 2 years ago. And this Chiefs team, at best, is like 90% of what they were 2 years ago. So Eagles money line's my bet. I think they win by double digits. I think Devontae Smith catches a touchdown. I think that I honestly don't know if Saquon is going to have a great game. I think the entire game plan is going to revolve around shutting Saquon down in the backfield and shutting AJ Brown down. Yeah. It's too obvious. I don't know. And then I think Jalen Hurts is the MVP. Eagles win. I think Jalen Hurts wins MVP. Saquon's the betting favorite from the Eagles to win MVP. He's like plus 2 something. Hurts is plus 300. I don't think Saquon's going to win. I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts.
Man, see, I kind of it depends on who has a bigger game.
I think Spags is going to game plan around Saquon. If Spags has to choose between, all right, am I going to let Jalen Hurts slice me up, or am I going to let Saquon Barkley run all over me? He's going to choose.
Well, if you remember last time they played in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts carved them up back time. 300 yards.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
300 yards in the ground. So it wasn't like it was like they had Miles Sanders went out in the game, so they had to really just rely on mainly just Kenneth Gainwell and stop the run altogether.
I don't think Hurts is that same player he was 2 years ago, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think even Spags thinks that Hurts can do it to them. So that's why I think that he might be like, okay, I'd rather Hurts beat me than Saquon. Like, you have to pick your poison. So that's, I don't know. So for all I know, I said that about the NFC Championship game, and look what Saquon did on the first play, right? So,
But yeah, that NFC that first game, and I believe that Saquon's going to do it again. Yes, the Chiefs haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season long, including the playoffs. Not until this weekend, of course, because Saquon will have over 100 yards rushing. I do believe Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball, but I look at the Eagles' passing game as a counter punch. Like, they're going to hit you with the run.
Yep.
But they will use the pass to set up the run.
Yeah. What were your best bets, Cleneth?
So my best bet is I had the Eagles at plus 1.5. Spread and a Saquon anytime touchdown.
Those are two. Those are great bets. Barkley in time and Eagles spread, and then Eagles money line, and you said Smith touchdown, Chris.
yeah, I think they're going to try to shut down Saquon and
AJ.
and AJ. You're going to have Trent McDuffie on AJ, so it's going to be Goddard or Smith if there's a passing touchdown, in my opinion.
Yeah. My best bet, I like the under 49.5 as of right now, I think still. I think everybody's gonna be on over considering what happened 2 years ago. I even like the first half under, maybe even more. Probably like minus 110, minus 115, depending on the book. And I like Dallas to get an anytime touchdown. Maybe even the first touchdown for the Eagles. But yeah, I like Dallas to get anytime touchdown here. I don't think anybody thinks he's gonna get a touchdown because everybody thinks it's gonna be AJ or Smith. I don't even think people think Smith, but AJ or Barkley or Hurts are probably the top 3 on the Eagles for touchdowns. So I'm gonna say Dallas gets a touchdown. Even maybe a first touchdown could be a nice bet. Let me check those odds real quick.
But Eric, I gotta go. I just got like bad information. I need to get a hold of my friend. I have to get ready to go. I just got a bad situation I got to go check up on.
First touchdown for.
Sorry. Yeah, you can. Sorry, Cleneth. You can. Hope everything's okay. You can get going.
All right, thanks.
What was that?
He said he got some bad news about something, so he had to go
Okay.
tend to it. So,
the first touchdown for Dallas is plus 1,800 on FanDuel, so that could be a nice sneaky first touchdown for the game. Any final thoughts before we head out?
no, that's all I got.
Yeah. Should be a good game. Cleneth, I hope everything's okay. Well, I'll message you later. But yeah. Chris, it was good
Sounds good.
talking.
Yep.
As always.
Okay.
I'll,
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll text you later too.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Oh, a few plugs. In about 10 minutes, I'll probably be going on for NBA trade deadline updates, and I think there was a few trades that went down earlier, and then I'll do that. And then at 6:30, the breakdown of Raw for this past Monday with myself and Doug and Daniel. We're doing that simulcasting on Unscripted Sports and Listen Through the Years, so check that out. So I'll be doing another stream in about maybe 5-10 minutes here live. And then right after, I'll be going live with the boys for the breakdown. So check that out, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Later.